Every second, thousands of photos are uploaded. Millions of stories are posted. Opinions are broadcast. Moments are curated. Birthdays, engagements, gym sessions, coffee cups. In today's world, visibility feels like existence. If it's not posted, did it even happen? And yet, there's a quiet group who choose not to participate. They scroll, they watch, they observe, but they rarely post. No daily updates, no public journaling, no digital applause. They exist online, but almost invisibly. Who are these people? Are they disengaged, judging, disconnected? Or are they simply choosing a different relationship with visibility? Tonight, we explore the hidden psychology of people who don't post on social media.
It feels like everyone is constantly sharing birthdays, breakups, vacations, opinions, meals. But this perception is distorted. Psychologists and digital behavior researchers point to something known as the 90-9-1 rule. 1% of users create the majority of content. 9% contribute occasionally. 90% mostly observe. The internet is loud, but it is loud because a small minority is very active. Most people are not broadcasting, they are consuming. So if you don't post, you are not strange, you are statistically normal. The silent majority has always existed. Social media just makes the vocal minority more visible.
Some people are natural observers. They experience deeply, but quietly. Psychologists often connect this to higher levels of introversion, not shyness, not social anxiety, but a preference for internal reflection over external expression. Observers often report, moments feel more authentic when they are not documented. Experiences feel richer without interruption. Meaning deepens in silence. For them, taking a photo can sometimes distance them from the moment. They don't feel the urge to say, "Look at this." They're more interested in asking, "What does this mean to me?" Their identity is internally constructed, not socially displayed. For some, not posting is about control. In the digital age, data is currency. Every post becomes permanent. Screenshots exist. Algorithms remember. People who don't post often score higher in privacy awareness, risk sensitivity, and long-term thinking. They understand something simple. What goes online rarely disappears. Their silence is not fear, it's strategy. Social media platforms are built on feedback loops. Likes, comments, shares, notifications. Each one triggers dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. For some, this becomes reinforcing. Posting becomes habit. Habit becomes dependence. But not everyone is equally sensitive to social reward systems. Psychologists describe something called self-determined motivation, when a person's sense of worth comes from internal standards rather than public reaction. People who don't post frequently often don't measure happiness by engagement metrics, feel uncomfortable quantifying their value, prefer private achievement to public applause. They don't need visible validation to feel real. Their satisfaction is quieter, but often more stable. For many people, posting feels like stepping onto a stage. What if it's judged? What if it's misunderstood? What if it doesn't receive enough attention? Social psychologists refer to this as evaluation anxiety, the stress of being observed and assessed. Even small acts, like posting a photo, can feel like micro-performances. Some people opt out, not because they lack confidence, but because they don't want to turn everyday life into content. They don't want moments to carry the weight of reaction. They prefer living without commentary. There's also a philosophical shift happening, a movement toward intentional technology use. Popularized by thinkers like Cal Newport, digital minimalism encourages deliberate engagement rather than constant connection. For digital minimalists, social media is a tool, not an identity. Attention is sacred. Silence is clarity. They ask, is this adding value to my life or fragmenting it? Not posting becomes a boundary, a filter, a conscious choice. Presence over performance, depth over noise. Some people process emotions privately. When they're sad, they reflect. When they're angry, they pause. When they're joyful, they savor quietly. Psychologists suggest that private emotional processing can strengthen regulation skills. Not every feeling needs an audience. Public sharing can be cathartic, but it can also amplify emotion. Private processing often builds resilience. For these individuals, privacy protects peace. Their emotional life is not content, it is sacred territory. The internet has a long memory. A post from 5 years ago can reappear today. People who rarely post think in decades, not days. They ask, will I agree with this in the future? Will this represent who I become? This future-oriented mindset makes them cautious. Silence becomes a way of protecting their evolving identity. Are people who don't post happier? The answer is complex. Research suggests passive scrolling without interaction can increase feelings of disconnection. But intentional non-posters are different. They are not avoiding connection, they are choosing where connection happens. In person, in small groups, in private conversations. They may have fewer visible interactions, but often deeper ones. Happiness does not require an audience, and connection does not require broadcasting. In a culture that rewards exposure, choosing silence can feel rebellious. Not posting is not laziness. It's not insecurity. It's not social failure. Sometimes it's confidence. The confidence to live without broadcasting. The security to enjoy without proving. The strength to exist without being seen. Social media tells us if it's not posted, it didn't happen. But that isn't true. Some of the most meaningful lives are lived quietly. And maybe the most powerful presence online is knowing you don't always need one.